All right, you guys, happy Friday. Welcome to Friday Deal Story number 27. Who's out there? And as you enter the live stream, if you are new to the channel, as you enter the live stream, you got to smash that thumbs up for me. So we're going to wait until you guys get on here. But basically, I'm going to share with you guys on this deal that we just closed yesterday. We're picking up the checks today. It's a double closing, so the profit on it is supposed to be 55, but since we're doing a double closing on it, we end up making 50. So there's roughly about $5,000 in closing costs that we have to pay, but I'll break you guys down the deal. I'll share with you guys how we found the buyers, how we found the seller, or how the seller come in contact with us, from which marketing, how much we make, etc. I already told you how much we make. Anyways, guys, happy Friday. How are you guys doing? My YouTube family. Let's give you guys a couple shout out. Jin, what up, buddy? Let's give you guys some shout out here. Let me lock on. And for those of you who are new to the channel, who's interested in learning about wholesaling, especially virtually, where you don't need to see the seller, the property, or the buyer, smash the subscribe button. If you do enjoy this video, and if it adds any kind of value to you, even a tiny bit, boom, smash that thumbs up for me. And for those of you who are able to join me live, as you enter the live stream, smash that thumbs up for me. So anyway, I don't know, Ray, I don't know if you're on, but I did try to cold call you and no answer. Ray, I try to call you unexpectedly. I try to call you, I try to record it. Because a lot of times, you know, when you are prepared, then you know, when you are you know someone's gonna call you, prepare. I tried to cold call and you didn't pick up the phone. I only call you like 10 times. Ray, you blocked the number. Gordon, yo, what up? Happy Friday. So let's have a little bit of fun here before we get into the story. Christopher, good after. Happy Friday. Sean Johnson, happy Friday. Sean, you did a great, you did an excellent job, man, the last time that we role played. Thank you so much for your time and for doing that for the audience. I'm sure people like that. Officially DJ Juki, happy Friday. Jamal, what up? Happy Friday. Gordon, what up? Simiola, what up? Happy Friday. Joe, whoa, happy Friday. Steady Eddie, happy Friday. Christopher Davis, happy Friday. Tiana, happy Friday. You guys, if I mispronounce your name or if I chop your name, please, I want to apologize because I'm not good at pronouncing names, so I apologize for that. Christopher William, what up, man? Happy Friday. Jake A, thumbs up. Boom, happy Friday. So you guys, ask Joshua, happy Friday. As you enter the live stream, you guys, don't forget to smash that thumbs up. We got 30-something people and only 16. Let's start adding some value so I can get those thumbs up. So you guys, so basically this deal here came off of one of our postcard. I gave you my personal number. That why don't answer block. Check your message. Did you check your message? Did ask you to. Oh man, Ray. Yeah, I call it like 10 times. I figured it was your personal numbers. Because I'm sure if it's one of your marketing number, you would have picked it up right away. But anyways, you guys, Ray, we can go ahead and do a quick role play. So you guys comment right now and let me know. Do you guys want to hear the story first, or you guys want me to role play with Ray first? Just a short, I don't know, 1 or 2 minutes role play with Ray. Ray is actually in our Facebook group, and story first. Got it, done. Story first. So anyways, you guys, so this seller here calls us coming in from one of our postcard that we have sent out. Now, she doesn't own the property. Her husband is the one that owns the property. And I guess her husband got into a divorce already with the ex-wife. The divorce, everything was already done. The property has been vacant for about a year now. So the husband is not the one that contacted us, but the wife is the one that contacted us, and got one of our postcards, went through the whole thing. And the reason why they're selling, because the property has been sitting there vacant for about 2 years now, and they just, don't want to pay the property tax, don't want to go over there cleaning up and doing all that, cutting the grass, etc., keeping and maintaining the property. And they're just at the time where she's like, you know what, my husband is just ready to sell the property if the price is right? So what they mean is if we can come to an agreement on a price that works for both parties. So she went through, she chat to one of our VA, went through the whole thing already, gathered information, set up an appointment for my purchase manager to call back on the second phone call. She made the seller the offer on the second phone call. The price actually works out. For her. She said that's a good price. So I think she wanted, now don't quote me, you guys. I don't remember the exact, I have to pull it up, but I think she wanted like one walk away of like, the property is free and clear. And I think she wants to walk away with like 175 or 200,000. I'm not exactly sure. And so my purchase manager went through the whole script, chatting with the seller, lock it up at 150. Lock it up at 150. This property here is probably worth about, oh man, let me see here. I think this property is about in the 350 or so, 350, 375 range, depending on how good of a rehab you do. But we figured the ARV is about 350 to 375. She locked it on the contract for 150. So what it is I am the one that's going to do the research on the property, and then I typically give her about four to five different offer, right? So we know that here's our max, and then I'll start really low, and then so basically, based on the conversation that she talks to the seller, she gets to pick where to start. But obviously, you don't want to start at the price where you be like, that's it, you can't negotiate anymore, right? So you always want to come in lower. So let's just say your max is 150. Our max on that was, we can go as high as, I think we can go as high as like 175 or so on that one. So I got her to start at like 140, and then she ended up getting the seller to come down to 150. Okay, so if your max is at 150, you would want to start out like 135, but based on how the conversation go with the seller, so based on a lot of times on the second phone call, we ask the seller again on the price, so you kind of go through a little bit with them, kind of build a little bit of rapport, see how their day is going, etc. See how her day's going, etc. So you want to build a little bit of rapport until you got into the price, and then you want to ask them the question again before you present the offer, you guys. Before you present the offer, ask the seller the question again on the price. Obviously, I teach you guys that in my King Kong Amazing Seller Script. You ask the question again to see, because a lot of times when you ask again, they'll change their number. All right. Sometimes they go higher, but a lot of times they're gonna go lower. All right. So I think she wanted 175, and then she went down to like 165 or so. I'm not exactly sure. But I got the call recorded. I'm going to update it, and then I'm going to share with those of you who are on the Facebook family. I'm going to share with you guys the phone call, probably from the beginning to all the way to getting the property locked up. So I'm going to try to edit that. It's going to take some time, but I'll try to edit that, and then I'll upload it. I'll send it to you guys. That those of you who purchase my King Kong Amazing Seller Script package, I'll send it to you guys so you guys can listen to it. So basically, I told her to start at, so basically, I'm the one who do the research on the property, let my purchase manager know what to offer on the property. Her job, because they don't know anything about real estate, to teach them to run comparable, it takes a little bit more time. For me, it'll be a lot quicker. So I sent it over to her. She started at 130 or so, 135. End up getting the property to accept at 150. Now, the seller said, hey, we're ready to go. Send the agreement over. So typically, we want to ask for the expiry date, when we're going to get back. You guys do not send the agreement over without getting the seller committed to knowing, getting the seller to commit to when to send the contract back to you, all right? So, and then I obviously teach you guys that, share with you guys that in the script. It's always to ask back, when can we expect to get the agreement back? If they say 2 weeks, then if they say 2 weeks, nope, just say, you know what, typically our offer, you know, we like to stay committed to it for about 3 days or so. Is there a reason why you couldn't get to us any sooner? Is there any issue that I can, you know, any question that I can answer? If they say, I have to contact some family member, blah, blah, blah. If the reasonable is, if the reason is legit, sometimes they have to show it to their attorney or get an attorney line up or whatever it is, then yes. But you want to narrow that time because you want to get the agreement back as quickly as possible, okay? So if they say 2 weeks, just don't go and say, okay, no problem. Do not. Saying, is there any way that you can get back to us a lot sooner? Because our company, typically when we put out an offer, we stay committed to it and we like to get it back as quickly as possible. Typically our turnaround time is about in 3 days or so. Could you do that? And a lot of times they go from 2 weeks down to like a week. All right, when you say 3 days, they're like, well, you know what, Khang, I do need a little bit more time. I want to review with my realtor, with my attorney, whatever it is. And that's exactly happens in this situation. So she wanted I'm not exactly sure with the phone call, but my purchase manager asked her and wanted to get it back within like 3 days or so. So 3 days go by. We want to touch base with them on the day before we get it back to see if they have any questions. Got no response from the seller. No response. On the day that it was expired, no response. And we're like, oh my God. We're like, oh my goodness, this is stressing out. Because, until you have that contract signed, you don't have a deal yet. So man, my purchase manager, she was like, oh my God, Khang, what's going on? She really wanted to sell. I don't know what's going on. And anyway, so we keep on following up with her. The day that we are supposed to get it back, didn't even hear from her. The next day, we finally heard from her. And my purchase manager was following up with her. I think she calls her like twice a day, shoot her an email as well. And finally, the expiry dates are expire. She contacted through a text message back the next day and said, sorry, my son was really sick. I didn't have the time to review it. But my husband, because her husband is the one that supposed to sign this, all right? And she said, my husband wants to have an attorney review it. So is there any way that we can get more time, etc.? So we end up having to extend it have her extend it for another, I think like 3 days or so. And I guess so what happened is her husband got on the phone with my purchase manager and he asked some questions that my purchase manager didn't know. So I end up having to call him back and explain to him kind of not a go. So I kind of explained to him exactly what is going to happen because he's not sure exactly what the process is and wanted to make a couple of changes on the contract. And he wanted to make a couple of changes on the contract because we try to get so basically we trying to tie the property up as long as we can, right? To give us as much time as possible to find the buyers. So we lock it up for 30 days. And in our contract, the purchase and sale contract between us and the seller, it gives us all the way to the day of closing to back out, get our full earnest money back if anything goes wrong, right? So it gives us all the way into the day of closing to back out if needed, all right? We never have to do that, right? If needed. So I guess he has one of his realtor friend or something like that review it and said, and he wanted to give us a 14 days inspection on it. And then after the 14 days, so basically he was on the phone, he was telling me, I have some friends or a realtor friend who looked at it and we had a couple issue with this agreement. And then, so he basically went 14 days, right? 14 days of inspection. So for us to go in, whatever we need to do, he said 14 days inspection. After the 14 days, if all the inspection is good, our earnest money, which we put up $500, he didn't have any problem with the $500 earnest money. He said after the 14 days, the earnest money will become non-refundable. And then at that time, we need to decide if we want to move forward or not. So he wants to know, basically he wants to have an answer within 14 days. So a lot of times you guys, for us, it's like you want to tie the property up. So for us, we just want to make it work and we want to get commitment. We want to get this control of this property and get it locked in, all right? Because you can always go back and renegotiate. It's like once they're bond, once they're tied together, it's easier to go back and renegotiate and extend or change or negotiate on price or extend the date. It's a lot easier when you come in contract than when you're not. All right, it's like they felt like, it's like once you have a commitment already, it's like, okay, well, we still want to get it done. What's the next thing we need to do, etc. All right. So my whole thing is get it locked up, and it was at a good price. I know it just, we have wholesale a ton of property in that area, so I know that we won't have a problem selling it. But as for those of you who are new into the game, it's okay. Lock it up on the contract. The seller knows that the seller's going to give you 14 days to inspect the property. And if for some reason the inspection comes out, it doesn't work, you couldn't find the buyer, you can always back out of the deal, but you can always renegotiate at that time to get more time on it, you know? And actually, when you guys join the Facebook family, I'm going to give you guys some tips to talk to seller, to extend the contract, to talk to buyers, etc. All right, you guys, something where I cannot share with you guys on the YouTube channel. So, anyways here, so he said, so I went on the call, I explained everything to him. I didn't need to go through line by line. What it is you just need to hit all the points that the seller needs to know, because he just want to have a peace of mind. He know that this property needs a lot of work, right? He just don't want to get tied up. And then we go in there and he keep on asking, hey, Khang, well, guys, when you guys go inspect the property, are you guys going to renegotiate the price? I just don't want to be tied up. I really want to sell the property, but I don't want to be, stringing along and tied up in this process for a long time. And he said, I don't want to, go back and renegotiate on the price, etc. So basically, I just go on there, basically just reassure him that, once we come into an agreement on a price that work for you and for us, as long as you're honest with us, just like we're honest with you, if you can be honest with us on the condition of the property, and if everything you told us is correct, then there's really no reason why we can move forward to closing. The reason why we want to send out our contractor, and he was concerned. So a lot of times you guys gotta understand, when the seller sell the property as is, they're worried about liability. All right, and that's the question that came up, because I guess he talked to one of his realtor friend. He said, Khang, I just don't want any issue to come back to me. I'm selling the property as is. I don't want you guys to go back, first of all, renegotiate on the price, or coming back and tell me I need to do this, I need to do that, or after you buy it, I just don't want any issue. Is this a sell as is, and are you guys gonna waive any responsibility with me that I need to tell you about the property? So I told the seller, as long as you can be honest with us on the condition of the property, we don't need to get a home inspection, because that's one thing that he asked, is that if you guys going to get a home inspection on this property, can you provide me? I would like to get a copy of that inspection report. And I said, well, typically we don't need to get a home inspector. What we do is we just need to send out our local contractor professional to go through and view the property, just to make sure everything you told us is correct, right? And I said, Bob, well, his name is not Bob, but I said, as long as everything you told us is correct, Bob, there's really no reason why we couldn't move forward to closing. We just don't want to go out there and see, all the entire house is gutted, or there's missing bathroom, kitchen is all destroyed, or missing roof, or foundation is sinking. We just don't want to go out there and find any major issue with the property that you haven't or forgot to tell us. Because, Bob, we have experienced this in the past already, where the seller told us, oh, it doesn't really need anything. And then when we sent our guy out there to go through the property, and the property just need a total rehab, or it needs completely tear down, and we just don't want, we just don't want that. We basically, that's the reason why we sent someone out, because we don't want something like that, to happen, where we agreed on, okay, it just needs this much. And everything you told us, it seems like the kitchen, it just needs complete rehab, right? So we base on your figure, and also too is based on what we figure that the property's going to need, and that's how we come up with an offer for you. And when we send someone out there, once they verified it that everything is good, then there is no reason why we couldn't move forward to closing. And then I explained with him the whole closing process. We take care of all the closing costs and fee. And so whatever we agreed upon, that's exactly how much you walk away with at closing, not a penny less. If there is anything that surprised you where it comes out where we didn't agree upon, we'll make sure that we'll take care of. And at the time, you don't need to sign the closing paperwork. all it is, it's going to cost us time, it's going to cost us the money, but not you. And I want you to understand that. And I want you to understand that everything we talk about and agreed upon will be executed exactly how it is, all right? And we are going to use the third party. So I said we are going to use the title company to close on this transaction, so everyone is protected, Bob. And like I said, and at the time when you come to the closing table, if anything weird that we didn't agree upon, then you don't have to sign that final paperwork. And guess what? So after I got off the phone call with him, explained with him, and that's the whole thing, you guys, giving the seller knowing what to say, giving the seller the peace of mind, the trust, the confident knowing that everything is agreed upon will be executed. So I said, you know what, we got it. So whatever he wanted, the 14 days. Man, can you guys hear me? For some reason,